Let's begin with stress, because this is where the breakdown often starts. Your body has not stopped fighting for you out of weakness. It has stopped because it has been fighting for too long. Stress, in its original design, is protective. It sharpens focus, increases heart rate, mobilizes energy, and prepares you to respond to danger. This is an extraordinary system. The problem is not stress itself. The problem is chronic activation without recovery. When the mind perceives constant threat, deadlines, financial pressure, relationship conflict, comparison, uncertainty, the body cannot distinguish between a real physical danger and a psychological one. To your nervous system, an unpaid bill can register the same way as a predator once did. So cortisol remains elevated. Adrenaline keeps circulating, inflammation rises quietly in the background. Over time, the body begins reallocating resources. It prioritizes short-term survival over long-term repair. Digestion weakens, immunity lowers, hormonal balance shifts. Sleep becomes lighter and less restorative. You may not feel stressed in the dramatic sense, but internally, your system is operating in emergency mode. And here is the philosophical truth we rarely confront. The body always believes the mind. If your internal dialogue is built on pressure, criticism, and fear, your physiology will reflect that narrative. A body cannot heal in an environment of constant psychological warfare. When stress becomes identity, when being busy becomes status, when exhaustion becomes normal, the body adapts by conserving energy. It stops investing in optimal performance because it no longer trusts that safety is coming. What looks like laziness, burnout, or low immunity is often biological self-protection. This is not failure. It is intelligence. Your body is not betraying you. It is responding precisely to the signals you are sending it. And if you change the signal, you change the biology. The question then is not why your body has stopped fighting. It is why you have asked it to fight every single day without rest. Because a body that feels safe will heal, a body that feels supported will recover, and a body that is no longer under siege will begin fighting for you again. Now let's move from stress to something even more tangible: what you are consistently feeding your body. The human body is not sustained by calories alone. It is sustained by information. Every bite of food you consume carries biochemical instructions that tell your cells how to behave. Nutrient-dense foods signal repair, stability, and resilience. Highly processed foods signal chaos. When your diet is built on refined sugars, industrial oils, and artificial additives, you are not simply gaining weight, you are disrupting cellular communication. Your immune system, your hormones, your neurotransmitters, they all rely on raw materials: vitamins, minerals, amino acids, fatty acids. Without them, the body cannot synthesize what it needs to defend you. It cannot regulate inflammation properly. It cannot repair tissue efficiently. It cannot maintain metabolic flexibility. Over time, deficiencies become dysfunctions. But here is the deeper layer. Modern eating is rarely driven by nourishment. It is driven by emotion. We eat for comfort, convenience, distraction. Food becomes relief from stress rather than support for vitality. And while it may soothe the mind temporarily, it burdens the body long-term. Blood sugar spikes, insulin surges, inflammatory pathways activate. Quietly, repetitively, day after day. The body interprets this as instability. When glucose fluctuates wildly, energy systems become strained. When protein intake is inadequate, muscle repair slows. When micronutrients are missing, enzymatic processes falter. The result is not immediate collapse. It is gradual decline. Fatigue becomes normal. Brain fog becomes familiar. Immunity weakens subtly. And we begin to believe that this is simply part of aging. It is not aging. It is undernourishment at the cellular level. Philosophically, there is something profound here. You cannot consistently give your body what depletes it and expect it to defend you. Biology responds to patterns, not intentions. Occasional healthy choices cannot override daily damage. The body measures consistency. If you want your body to fight for you again, you must give it the tools. Real food, adequate protein, micronutrient diversity, stable blood sugar, hydration. These are not trends. They are biological requirements. Your body is not asking for perfection. It is asking for support. And the truth is simple. If you fuel your body like it matters, it will respond like it matters. Now we need to talk about something most high-performing people quietly sacrifice. Sleep is not a passive state. It is an active biological process of repair, recalibration, and neurological cleansing. When you sleep deeply, your brain reorganizes information, your hormones reset, your immune system strengthens, and damaged tissues begin to recover. Growth hormone is released. Inflammation is regulated. The nervous system shifts from survival mode into restoration. But when sleep becomes shortened, fragmented, or inconsistent, that entire repair cycle is interrupted. Many people believe they can push through fatigue, and for a while they can. The body compensates. Stress hormones rise to keep you alert. Adrenaline fills the gaps where restoration should have occurred. Caffeine becomes the substitute for recovery. But this is borrowed energy, and borrowed energy always demands repayment. Chronic sleep deprivation slowly alters metabolic function. Insulin sensitivity decreases. Hunger hormones become dysregulated, increasing cravings for sugar and processed foods. Cortisol remains elevated. Decision-making weakens. Emotional resilience declines. The immune system loses efficiency. What feels like mental burnout is often physiological depletion. And here is the psychological paradox. In a culture that glorifies productivity, rest feels like weakness. We associate exhaustion with dedication. We treat sleep as negotiable, as if it were a luxury instead of a biological necessity. But the body does not negotiate. It keeps score. When you consistently deny sleep, you are telling your body that repair is not a priority. Over time, it adapts by conserving energy elsewhere. Healing slows. Inflammation rises. Performance plateaus. Motivation fades. It may appear that your body has stopped fighting for you, but in reality, it has stopped receiving the conditions required to fight at all. Philosophically, sleep represents trust. Trust that you can step away. Trust that the world will continue without your constant vigilance. When that trust disappears, the nervous system remains alert, even in the dark. If you want your body to restore its strength, you must allow it the space to recover. 7 to 8 hours of consistent, quality sleep is not indulgence. It is infrastructure, because a tired body cannot defend you at full capacity. But a rested body becomes resilient, focused, and powerful again. Finally, we need to address something far less visible, yet equally powerful: the emotional landscape you live in every day. The body does not separate emotional experience from physical reality. To your nervous system, unresolved grief, chronic resentment, suppressed anger, or persistent anxiety are not abstract states. They are physiological events. They alter breathing patterns. They change heart rate variability. They influence inflammatory pathways. They reshape hormonal output. When emotions are repeatedly suppressed rather than processed, they do not disappear. They become embodied. Many people pride themselves on being strong. They push through heartbreak. They ignore disappointment. They silence fear. On the surface, this looks like resilience. Biologically, however, suppression often translates into sustained sympathetic activation, a subtle but continuous stress response. Muscles remain slightly tense. Digestion becomes irregular. Sleep becomes shallow. The immune system becomes less responsive. Emotions are designed to move through you, not live inside you. When they are unacknowledged, the body holds the burden. Chronic emotional inhibition has been associated with increased inflammation, reduced immune efficiency, and higher vulnerability to illness. This is not mystical language. It is psychophysiology. The mind and body are not separate systems negotiating with each other. They are one integrated network communicating constantly. There is also a philosophical dimension here. If you consistently deny your internal truth, what you feel, what you need, what hurts, you create internal conflict, and conflict consumes energy. The body cannot operate optimally in a state of internal contradiction. It diverts resources toward managing tension rather than building resilience. Healing, in this sense, requires emotional honesty. It requires creating psychological safety within yourself. That might mean setting boundaries. It might mean grieving properly. It might mean asking for help. When emotional processing improves, autonomic balance shifts. Inflammation can decrease. Immune strength can recover. Energy returns. Your body is not weak because it feels. It weakens when feeling is forbidden. If you want your body to fight for you again, give it permission to release what it has been forced to carry. Because unspoken pain becomes physical weight, and freedom begins the moment you decide to face it.